woman walked in one day. She said, I heard about you. I heard about your weight loss results. My friend, blah, blah, blah. That's the only way I got clients was referrals. And it was one client at a time. And I was not making ends meet. So I was on Idaho State food stamps. And she said, I want to come to you for weight loss. She ended up losing 55 pounds in 5 months. And in about the first month in, she said, I feel fantastic. This is incredible. The world needs to hear this. I'm a business coach. Let me help you. And I said, okay. And I blindly trusted her, and boom, I made my first million in 1 year, and I hit 10 million in 3.5 years. And so it exploded. And that's because I listened to somebody so much smarter than me.
Welcome to the Building to Scale podcast, where we bring real entrepreneur stories that showcase the challenges and successes in building and scaling an entrepreneurial business. Our host, Jeff Chastain, is a business transformation coach with Admentis, where he coaches business leaders and their teams with a proven set of principles and tools, helping them gain clarity in and get more of what they want from their business. Make sure to stick around until the end of the show, and we will reveal how you can become our next guest.
Hello, everybody. Jeff Chastain here, and again with Building to Scale podcast, where I get the opportunity really to speak with entrepreneurial business owners, leaders, and thought influencers here that just really hearing their stories, their both challenges and successes as they've grown their business over the years to where it is today. So today's guest with me is Cristy Code Red Nickel with Code Red Fitness and Nutrition. So Cristy, first off, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking a little bit of your time out here.
Thank you for having me. I was just looking at the reflection of my mohawk. I was like, look, I got to have like an intro for me and an intro for my mohawk. It's getting kind of wild and crazy. I don't know if you've had guests on like this before, but here we are.
No, it fits right with your title there. So I think we're going to have to do a little bit more intro here and tell us a little bit more about yourself and obviously the mohawk there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I created a nutrition program that enables people to lose 10% of their body weight every month without shakes, pills, diet foods, and exercise. And so that's kind of like my elevator, like, yeah, that's what I do, but I certainly, I'm at 10 million a year now, but I certainly didn't get there. I was actually receiving Idaho State food stamps, a very short, less than 4 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about that journey kind of a thing. Where the entrepreneurial side at least start for you?
I'm not a natural entrepreneur. I'm a worker bee. I do what I'm told, but that's because, and that's why I do so well with business coaches. It started because I was raised in the mountains of northern Idaho, and we were very poor. My dad was a cop and our local minister, and my mom worked for minimum wage, and that we had a farm, and all the extra money they had went to the farm. And so there was just no money. Well, when I got out of high school, I did a little traveling. I kind of just was unsettled. I knew there was something more for me, but I couldn't quite identify it. I wanted to go to college, and I wanted to put myself through nursing school. So I actually was bartending and waiting tables, and I was just barely making ends meet. Well, I took a boxing class at a local YMCA, and a boxing coach was watching me, and he comes in there and he goes, what's your name? How long have you been boxing? I said, 44 minutes. And he said, oh, you have a propensity. Well, now that I've been in the boxing, I understand what he means. Some people just got it, and I evidently just had it. He said, you should fight pro. And I said, what? I mean, are you nuts? And he said, you could earn money doing this. Well, ding, ding, ding. That's what I needed to hear, because I was broke. And I literally started fighting in a federally licensed professional boxer. I'm sanctioned in many states. I started fighting literally for my dinner. And it ended up being an 8-year-long career with 15 pro fights, 2 world titles. And I've fought all over the world. And I got my own MTV show, and I got all this, these great things. I mean, I've been just recognized all over in magazines and all this stuff. Problem was, I started getting fat halfway through my boxing career. And I'm an elite level, one of the top 3 most dangerous females on the planet, that kind of an athlete. How in the world am I getting fat? Because I'm training 3 to 5 hours a day. So I took a step back and I said, what is going on? I mean, I was just told, you just got to exercise more. Well, I'm exercising. I'm going to blow out a knee. Like, what the heck if I exercise anymore? So I took a look at my diet. I realized I was shoving crap in my mouth that I could not out exercise. That's when I created the Code Red lifestyle, because exercise has nothing to do with weight loss. And now the message is spreading all over the world.
So what's Code Red tie into? Is that the boxing, or is that something else?
I was sitting in a nursing class, and my sister was on the phone with me. Class was getting ready to start. She goes, you got your first fight coming up, sis. And I said, yeah. She goes, do you have a ring name? I said, a ring name? She goes, yeah, in boxing they have ring names like Cristy Black Widow Nickel. Like, we got to think of something, sis. And I said, well, I don't know. And she goes, how about Cristy Code Red Nickel? Because I got the red hair and I had the code for medical. And I was like, okay, well, it ended up being one of the best boxing names in boxing history. And I just kept the Code Red name going all these years later, and everything is Code Red. Everything is named Code Red now. That's my
Nice.
brand.
Well, it's always interesting hearing where people's brands and names come from. And a lot of times it's just almost pure accident, it seems like, versus the ones they put so much thought into. It's like, okay, yeah, it's still kind of flat, but
I know,
so
and people, and it's funny because I have the mohawk on everything,
yep.
which is, I mean, someday I'm gonna get old, and someday this ain't gonna be cool. Right now it's cool, but I got the mohawk on like pop sockets. People love the mohawk, and that's what they associate with me, and so it's really been fun.
Interesting. So how did you go, obviously looking at your own kind of weight loss journey, your own kind of stuff, how did that transition into now, hey, let's go turn this into a business and actually help other people with it?
I knew that I had a good program, a good weight loss program that taught people how to lose weight without shakes, pills, diet foods, or exercise. And I was getting weight off people. Problem was, I didn't know how to monetize. I didn't even know what the word monetize meant. I did not understand. And so I got myself a little office in downtown Boise, and I sat there for 14 hours a day just waiting for people to walk in. Well, nobody was walking in. I mean, I thought the internet was for like porn and checking the weather. I didn't know that the internet could be used to, I just didn't understand. And
Yep.
I knew that the internet was there, but I didn't understand that people were building these multi-million-dollar companies online. So a woman walked in one day. She said, I heard about you. I heard about your weight loss results, my friend, blah, blah, blah. That's the only way I got clients was referrals. And it was one client at a time. And I was not making ends meet. So I was on Idaho State food stamps. And she said, I want to come to you for weight loss. She ended up losing 55 pounds in 5 months. And in about the first month in, she said, I feel fantastic. This is incredible. The world needs to hear this. I'm a business coach. Let me help you. And I said, okay. And I blindly trusted her. And boom, I mean, I made my first million in 1 year, and I hit 10 million in 3.5 years. And so it exploded. And that's because I listened to somebody so much smarter than me.
Yeah, that's one of the keys really, because it's a lot of times we were talking about this kind of beforehand that the entrepreneurial kind of mindset, for whatever reason, most entrepreneurs, it's like we can do everything ourselves. That it's especially in those early days, we don't need the experts. Hey, we know how to do everything, marketing, sales, operations, et cetera. We can handle it all ourselves. And at some point you kind of wake up and realize that, hey, things aren't working quite as well as maybe they should be. Maybe, hey, I'm just honestly not having fun with this anymore. And a lot of times that's where we'll start seeing that second kind of decline in business entrepreneurs when they start bailing out, saying, hey, this is not what I wanted, at least. They'll say, hey, this is not what I meant to build. It's like, well, you really did build it, but still. So what kind of, obviously a very quick ramp up kind of a thing there, that's honestly not most entrepreneurial kind of journeys. So what kind of advice, or what did that business coach really bring to you to say, hey, we can ramp this up a lot faster here than traditionally entrepreneur trying to figure it out themselves?
Well, I like to tell entrepreneurs, no, see, you don't got this. You got a great product. You know what you're doing, whether you're selling Mary Kay or you've got a plumbing business or a floral shop or whatever your business is. You are good at that. You are not good at growing the company. And so you gotta enlist the help of people that's smarter than you. The reason I was so successful was not because I was great or smart or I've got some kind of secret sauce. It's because I'm an implementer. I do what I'm told, and I do it right now. If my ad agency asks me for, hey, Cristy, we're going to go try out a new line of ads, a new script. We need these videos from you. Here's your script. They're there that afternoon. Like, I stop what I'm doing and I film it right then. So that's the only reason why I was so successful, because I followed exactly what Natasha said at that exact time. I mean, I did it immediately. So a couple of things she did for me is she scaled. I was not able to, like the way I was doing things was just sucking up a tremendous amount of time. Like, I would go over someone's custom program. For example, we do these customized nutrition programs for people. They're full customized programs, and I charged $9.97 for it, and I would sit down with each individual person and go over their custom program, and it would take me over an hour. Well, times that by, and there was no way I could scale that. And she said, whoa, 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 you're going to just wear yourself out. You're wasting your time. We got to do this much more efficiently. So I started doing these videos because I was repeating the same thing to every client, just different numbers. Everybody has different calories, different everything, different water. So she got me to where I was freed up. And I felt so guilty for so long because I was making all this money and not working nearly as hard. And I didn't understand, because that's the way I came from. I'm a farm kid. You work hard, that's how you get ahead. Well, not if you're doing it right.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And that's really the difference between scaling, because, and I suspect once you start bringing on additional employees, it's a mindset shift where, okay, I'm not having to sit there, like you said, from the farm. You got to be the one out taking care of the animals or whatever. You got to go put in the hours at that point. Whereas once you start scaling, making that mind shift to say, okay, I can either trust other people to do this, or I can offload it to an ad agency. I can offload stuff like that. And to me, that's always been one of the hardest mindset shifts from an entrepreneurial kind of standpoint.
Yeah, and we quickly identified, what are you good at, Cristy? What do you like to do, and what brings in the money? I convert better than anybody else does, so I started outsourcing the crap, building funnels. Oh my God, I've been building a funnel? Are you kidding me? I mean, I just wanted to blow my brains out when I building a funnel. No, I outsourced that. I outsourced bookkeeping, accounting, taxes. I outsourced everything I could, and we have over 60 employees now with Code Red, and everybody, I mean, I let it go, and you've got to let it go. And you've got to get people that are good at that. There are people out there that love to build funnels. They want to build your funnel. They don't want to be in front of a camera. They would rather light themselves on fire than be in front of a camera. Well, I'd rather be in front of a camera. I don't want to build a funnel. Find people that can take that crap from you, pay. And entrepreneurs, they're afraid. They're afraid to take on help. They're afraid to outsource. And yet you can't. You have to pull the trigger, take that step. It's going to free you up to make more money.
Yeah, no, it really will. And it's really what you said. It's how do you identify and look at, hey, what do I like doing? What do I have the capacity to do, the actual ability to do? And what do I want to do? And get rid of everything else, kind of a thing there. Because like you said, I don't want to do bookkeeping. I don't even want to do the social engine or social media, et cetera, kind of marketing stuff like that. That's let somebody else. It's not that it's unimportant, but still somebody else can do it better. Somebody else can do it more efficiently there. And that's, to me, that's really one of the biggest keys to actually successfully scaling at this point, is being able to, there's only 8 hours in a day, hopefully 9, 14, whatever you're talking. You don't want to be doing 14 hours a day every day, but still there's only so many hours a day you can really handle here. And that's going to be basically putting an artificial cap on your business, sitting there growing it.
And I've gotten real good at identifying what it is that drains me, what it is that, and I can feel the pressure on my head. I can feel the pressure on my shoulders. Every time I've got to open up an email from my tax accountant, it triggers me. I want to go eat. I want to cry. I just don't like it. I don't like that I got to write a $250,000 check. Like and I can feel it. So you know what? I hired a CFO. You deal with Greg at the accounting agency. You deal with Greg and Michelle at the bookkeeping. You guys do it. I don't even want to know about it. You just tell me when to write the check, or you write the check, So you got to really come in tune with your body and what it is that really sucks the living crap out of you, and get rid of it. Life is too short. You're not going to be as effective if you try to hang on to that stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of what we're talking about is kind of outsourcing to a CFO agency, outsourcing to a bookkeeping. What was the difference, or where did you make the mindset shift of, okay, now I need to actually hire an employee versus outsourcing? What was the difference at that point?
I remember my mom, we all have the mom, because, your family members, they believe in you when ain't nobody else believing in you,
Hopefully so, yes.
Right. Hopefully you've got a good family. And of course, my mom was always like, go, Cristy, go, my biggest cheerleader. And I remember I had released a t-shirt, a shirt that everybody loved. And I think it said, take your life back or something on it, and I remember my mom at 2:00 in the morning sitting on her living room floor shipping these shirts. And I just said, we can't keep doing this, or so then I started paying my mom like $200 a month to come and do some shipping for me, some minor shipping. We used to handwrite thank you notes to every person. Well, we've got 2,000 new clients a month coming through our challenge. And I just couldn't keep that up. And so little things that were happening, we used to hand bind with a coil binder that was an electric binder every program, and it'd go, it would bind and that kind of stuff. And so as I could tell I really keep good touch with my employees and say, how are you feeling? What are you maxed out? And when an employee gets maxed out on what he or she can handle, it's just time to bring on somebody else, And we look at our customer service team, for example, and they're maxed out. So I know we're right on the cusp of having to hire a new person. And so really keeping good tabs on how everybody's feeling, because it's my heart's desire to make sure that they are happy with their job. I pay them for 6 hours a day. I don't want them working 9 and then being resentful to me and Code Red. So it's really, I think, keeping good tabs on what each person I have. It everybody is on a real tight contract, and they have bullet points of exactly what they do during the day. I can see what is being done, and if I see that someone is getting really long in their list of crap they're doing, it's time to bring somebody else on. I don't want to wear out my people.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so I guess taking that one step further, then how did you go from, or what was there any change, or what's the change there from going for, because to me, yes, keeping tabs on everybody is great, but at the same time, again, scalability. How you can do that for your first 5 or 6, maybe 60 to me sounds like a lot of people to sit there and say, okay, what are you doing every day, kind of a thing. So what's
Right.
how did you make that mind shift, or what have you seen different in doing those first 4 or 5 versus now being at 60?
Yeah, I can certainly keep track of when I had a couple. And then we built out an org chart, an organization chart, and it showed me and then my COO and then my personal assistant. And we started to get everybody organized under certain people. And so Jade is in charge of, she's the director of coaches. She has all the coaches. And then we have a customer service manager that manages all the customer service reps. Then we have IT department, and then we have a copywriting department. We have an advertising, marketing department. So getting it all down, write it down, sometimes old school, or use a system for it, and get people. So once I started getting people lined up under other people and seeing it in black and white, I was able to go, all right, I'm done. I'm not managing customer service anymore. I'm not managing coaches anymore. You guys have a problem, you go to your director. You have a problem, and I only manage myself. I mean, not well, of course I manage myself. I manage
Some days.
my personal assistant and my COO, and nobody else comes to me for anything. And you got to just trust them. And then they report to me. Remember, test, don't guess, or as Reagan would say, trust but verify.
Yep.
They come to me with Monday reports. I'm getting my Monday reports, we're filming this on a Monday. My Monday reports are rolling in, and they're telling me what's going on. I have a format that I want bullet points. I want to be bottom lined. Let me know, bam, 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 and then done. And so it's nice. I keep my finger on the pulse, but I'm not micromanaging.
Yeah, and to me, that's one of the really keys to being able to grow that big, is you've got to be able to step back out and say, hey, I don't need to be sitting right next to you saying, did you make your sales calls today, or whatever kind of a thing? Because that's one that'll never instill the accountability, the discipline kind of thing in your people. And honestly, they're not going to have any fun with that either, most cases. So
Yeah, they'll hate me for that as well. I'll hate me for that. I was writing down how much time I was spending on crap, and I was spending a lot of crap figuring out if everybody's doing their job. Well, no, it's time to scale up.
Well, and that's key. And I think I haven't delved into your weight loss program, but I would assume it probably goes in there as well. Is okay, you've actually got to be able to run it and know your numbers. You've got to know what's going on in your business. Are your people, how many hours are they spending? What are they spending it on? How are they maxed out, kind of a thing? Versus, I know personally with the weight loss side kind of thing, if I'm just thinking, hey, yeah, I'm drinking enough water, or hey, I'm eating okay, then most likely I'm not. Versus when I actually sit down with pick your app, whatever, and put in all the food, it's like, okay, now I see exactly what's going on. And yeah, it makes sense why the scale is going the wrong direction, kind of a thing. But that's, to me, it applies both on business side as well, but really being able to have those numbers, know what's going on, rather than just, hey, I think the business is going okay, or I think we've got enough money in the checking account.
Oh, Yeah, we don't roll like that. Not in anything we do at Code Red. You cannot just think that. I'm checking my merchant accounts to see how much money. I know that Code Red's goal per day is 16,000 a day. Okay, like I want to see those numbers, and I'm watching, not obsessive, but same thing with weight loss. I don't trust. I'm sorry, I love them, but I don't trust any of my clients, and I have thousands of them coming in every month. So everybody has a checks and balance. You log, we check. You log, we check. You turn in your weight, we check. And my employees, everybody has their own shift. They all work shifts. They pick their shifts, and they know during the shift to check Sally. You're checking all the way down the line. And then I spot check once in a while just to kind of take a look. I kind of spot check a little bit of everything. I want to keep my finger on the pulse without it wearing me out. So yeah, nobody, I hate to sound mean or weird. It's just that, no, I don't trust them. I know how weight loss goes. I used to be fat. I know people are going to cheat when they're allowed to cheat. We don't allow people to pull that baloney on Code Red. You come to us when you are desperate and you're ready to change. The reason we get 10% of their body weight off a month is because I don't pull any punches. You do it my way, you go to Weight Watchers. Like I don't give a rat's fanny. And I have a system in place to check and double check. Everybody gets checked.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And even going back to the business side, we look at it and say, okay, what are we checking on it? And that's what those people are going to live up to. If we're sitting there checking, okay, did you make 10 sales calls today? They're going to make those 10 sales calls. So we got to make sure, one, we're checking, but two, we're checking on the right things there. But yeah, it's that accountability right there that's huge. That's just human nature more than anything. If we're going to be held accountable for something and we know about it, we're probably going to put our focus there and our energy right there.
Well, I'll tell you what, another example of this is my coaches, my leaders. I have leaders, I have leadership. It's it's an entry level position, then a senior leader, and then a certified coach. And we believe at Code Red in walking the talk. And we not only we have to stay at a certain goal weight or within a certain couple of pounds of your goal weight, but once in a while I will make them submit progress pictures to me, and that's like in a swimsuit or something. It's a progress picture. I mean, they post them all the time on Instagram. You see them in Victoria's Secret catalogs. You can send one to me. I want to see if you are walking the talk. I want to see if you're lying, and they have to send in a picture of the scale. They got to send in, and I'm holding their feet to the fire because I've watched the best of them fall. Even my COO, even me, I got to turn it in too. And so everybody has got to step up the line, and I demand excellence from my team.
No, that makes sense. So taking that kind of the next step, why do you think, or where do you see business leaders, either top or middle of the company kind of a thing, struggling when it comes to making changes or making adjustments that, hey, things are not on track, not working quite as well, and we need to make a change here, personnel or whatever else is going on?
What I've seen across the board, hands down, without a doubt, is you guys are not consistent. You're not being consistent, and you're waiting until the sun and the moon and the stars align, and the tears of the Tibetan monks are not. No. Listen, if you're trying to grow, if you're a dental hygienist, you're trying to grow your Mary Kay business on the side, ladies, and you need to be every night coming home from your job and spending an hour checking your emails, checking your DMs, and throwing up a foundation bottle on a live video and saying, "Hey guys, listen, we got a new shade out. I'm giving a $10 discount. DM me." Like, it's so easy, but they are not consistent. They're not posting consistently. They're not emailing consistently. They're not showing up for their community consistently. And that is frustrating. A lot of people also, a lot of entrepreneurs, they will give up when the going gets rough. Listen, I have not let my foot off the gas in 4.5 years. Revenue might be down. I don't back off on my ad spend. I don't lay off employees. I get that might be your situation and you had to, and I'm not judging you, but don't back down when the going gets rough. I have been knocked off my pedestal so many times and embarrassed and humiliated and lost money, but I got right back up and kept going. All right, how can I change? Make sure I'm not making the same mistake again. Don't back down and be consistent. Show up every day. After I get done with you, Jeff, I'm getting ready to talk to a guy that's trying to create, I'm not a business coach, but he asked me for some advice, and I see him online. He's not consistent. He's just, he's just kind of halfway doing it. Look, you want to make millions and reach millions because you guys are all dreaming of personal shoppers and private jets, but you're not willing to do the work.
Yeah, no, it's really clear on doing the work for sure. But even going back to what we were talking about before about knowing what's going on in the company, knowing what's going on with your people, if you've got that level of information, that level of data, to me, that's what makes decisions easier because hey, I can see what's going on here. I can almost gives you a little bit of fortune telling kind of a thing, looking into the future of okay, I've got a track of what's going on here. I can see that okay, pick a rep, whatever, sales rep, you're not making your numbers for the last 3 months and having some of those conversations. And now, okay, that decision's a whole lot clearer rather than operating in a vacuum when you don't have that information. It's like, okay, now what do I do? So it's really looking at that information that you were talking about or having those numbers you were talking about.
And be clear with your staff. Tell them you want these numbers, and they'll, and hold their feet to the fire. You shouldn't have to if they're good people and good ethical people that are doing their job the way they should. But be clear with what you want. My staff knows I am very clear. I bullet pointed. I want this, this, this. I want it by noon Mountain Time. And they deliver. So don't be wishy-washy. Oh, whenever you get it to me is okay. No, 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 no. You give people an inch, they take a mile. They'll be clear with what you need. Look at those numbers. Test, don't guess. Trust but verify. And your people will provide your reports for you.
Yeah. So taking that one step further, and I kind of expect I already know where you're going to answer with this one, just from what we're talking about, but how do you rate the idea of transparency in the business in terms of finances, plans and goals, personnel? How do you operate from a transparency kind of standpoint with Code Red?
Jeff, that's got to be one of the best questions I've ever had. Wow. So this is a great question because you can, there's a difference between being vulnerable and being weak. And I think that when as I guess I'm a CEO. I like to see myself as an entrepreneur rather than a CEO, but I show up online or, people like crying on camera. Okay. A little bit of that is okay. But, so I have tested this theory with my staff and with my community. How much do I say? How much do I show? How much do they know? Now, the people listening to you right now, I threw out a number of 16K a day. I want to be able to make a certain amount of money. I've told you guys I'm a $10 million company. I told you, I think that these numbers help when I'm speaking to this audience. But what I've noticed is sometimes I talk about money to my weight loss audience and they don't like it too much. They don't care. Look, all someone cares about is, can you help me, Cristy, lose some weight? All right. I haven't, my knees hurt, my hands hurt, and I'm busting out my LuLaRoe leggings. Like, can you help me? They don't really care about the conversion rate. I'm converting at 14.1% to cold traffic. Yeah. We don't even know what that means, Cristy. So certain audiences, I'll say certain numbers, but this is a touchy subject. And I always think, as for my staff, as staff meetings, I don't run the staff meetings anymore. My second in charge does. But when I show up, I'm thinking I'm going to throw out some numbers and they'll better understand. No, they don't. They don't really care. They just want to do their job. They want to raise their kids. They don't care about the intricate details and numbers like I do and like I thought that they would. So I've been pulling that back a little bit lately and just not sharing with them like, guys, our revenue is down. We only made $8,000 today. That doesn't mean anything to them. I mean, that's a lot of money to most people. So when I say that, they don't realize, look, payroll alone is 150K a month. Like, they don't know the scale of what I'm talking about. So I started really backing down on what I share with people. I just kind of share with them what I think they need to know. And I don't really share a whole lot more.
Interesting. Okay. Because yeah, I just look at, especially like this year, we're obviously recording this and still hopefully the trailing ends of the pandemic, but still in the middle of this pandemic. And it's like, okay, we've seen a lot of companies have to lay off people, have to downsize. And it's curious talking to different business owners is, okay, how much transparency do they have within the business to say that, okay, do your employees see that, okay, revenues are down, things are trending the wrong direction, so therefore this may be coming, or does it turn into kind of a surprise because they just didn't know what was going on with the company? So it's interesting because a lot of people, like you said, some people either can better identify with the revenue numbers or some people just flat out don't want to share those in the first place, kind of thing. So it's always interesting hearing different takes on that.
Yeah, and I noticed like they have access to my merchant accounts because what we have to do is we verify purchases and we have to do refunds or we'll invoice people and they can see what's rolling in for Code Red. And I used to be really paranoid, like, oh, they're gonna know what we make or whatever. And so they see the revenue's down, but they don't know revenue's down. I'm thinking, can't they see this? Won't they be worried? But they really aren't. They just kind of they just grind along. They're worker bees. They grind along. Nobody really knows anything. And then if I come to them and say, if I send an email or I pop in on a staff meeting, say, guys, listen, we need everybody to be posting on social media about our latest sale, or can I get you guys all to please spread the message, or can everybody please, then they kind of go, oh, geez, boy, we must be kind of getting a little lean here because Christy's here. So I try to say something when the going gets rough.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, I just remember dealing with one client at one point where we were in a meeting with the leadership team, and I asked him, he's like, okay, so what's the revenue picture for last year? He immediately backed there, clammed down, and said, well, we'll talk about that offline. It's like, okay, if you can't even share revenues with your senior leadership team,
Right.
and like you said, I know your employees, the financial group or whatever, they're in your merchant account. They know what's going on, but to some degree, they don't actually have the clear picture because they're only seeing the revenues coming in. They don't have any idea, like you said, what the expenses are. So in some respects, that's actually the worst thing because they're sitting there saying, wow, we made $2 million this month.
Right.
Why is she not paying us any more money? It's like, well, you don't know the other half of the business kind of thing here.
Right.
It's not that Christy's sitting here taking all that home every month. It's like you said, we've got a huge payroll. We've got a huge ad spend or whatever kind of a thing growing this business. So having that clearer picture overall.
I like to throw little things out. The other day I said something about, oh, we rented the Hilton for Code Red Live and it was $40,000 to rent the Hilton in Salt Lake City. And I said, well, I rented it for $40,000 and I thought their heads were going to, I mean, they almost jaws came unhinged over that. I said, you guys don't know how much it takes to run Code Red. I mean, my American Express bill every month is 100,000, and they're like, what? So it is good to throw a few things out there to put it in perspective, I think.
Yeah, no, in perspective really helps. So looking forward a little bit, what's the future? Obviously, you said weight loss is kind of recession proof here, obviously a little bit, but what's the future look like for Code Red? What are you what's your goals going forward?
Yeah, we're certain to try to clean up the mess of the lockdown and people doing like the quarantine 15. And I know we're going to be all right and we're fine. But so moving forward, I'm really taking a good look at my numbers. So what I notice is I have 2,000 people, roughly 2,000 to 3,000 that come into my 10-pound takedown every month. So I convert 10 to 20% to my high ticket package. Well, what happens to that 80%? So what happens at 1,800 clients, I just noticed I've paid to acquire them, but they're not continuing on with us. And I'm like, so right now we're really working on what can we sell those people? What can we do? What can we offer to sell us to serve? What problem can I solve for them and so we're diving in as we speak, we're diving into what program can I create to scoop up. And it's it's another almost 150,000. If I just sell 40% of those leftover people, this program that I'm developing, it's another 150K a month of revenue we could bring in. Plus it would solve a problem. Of course, my heart's in the right spot. We are solving a problem, which is what you're doing, guys. You listen to me. That's what entrepreneurs do. We solve problems. And so I'm kind of looking at that. I've got another book coming out this spring. I've written several books called, I'm not supposed to say, I almost said what it was called. I was told I'm not supposed to say that. We've got, I hired a new agency to manage my YouTube. We're going to grow my YouTube. We're going to put out 5 new videos a month. So, it's really hard to implement new programs that cost money. And when you're bringing on a YouTube agency that costs $10,000 a month, at my level, that's like, it might cause you pause when you're in a pandemic. But I just don't believe in letting my foot off the gas pedal. I know this is going to convert. I know it's going to be all right. We're growing my podcast, Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. Right now, it's ranked number 250 out of every single podcast in the United States, which is, I think, 800,000, 900,000. So it's incredible. And so those are kind of things that we're doubling down on. As far as travel goes, I would love to speak more, but I think it's going to be virtually. But anytime I can spread the message of hope and healing or giving entrepreneurs some way to kind of grasp on and say, you know what, Christy's right. I'm going to get up, get dressed. I'm going to start taking better care of myself. I'm going to show up and shine my light and spread the message I'm meant to spread. Then that's always fun for me.
Yeah, no, it's good. Still looking forward to looking to say, hey, we're growing, and especially like you're saying with the customer base, because a lot of times people will look at, okay, well, everything to get a new customer. It's like, okay, keep them. You've already paid the money to get them here. Why are you going out and spending more money to go grab the next new customer? Figure out how you can keep that back into the funnel a little bit fuller at that point. So yeah, that's good, and that's key there. So
I know that sorry,
Go
Jeff.
ahead.
Let me jump in one more thing. I know that social media is unstable, especially that Netflix show that came out. I mean, it shows that, so I did create my Code Red app, and we really want to migrate to the app and get off social media as far as needing it to deliver our product. We want to be able to deliver our product in a more controlled atmosphere. And so I really kind of encourage you guys, I don't know what kind of business you guys have, but think about making sure that you foolproof your business where you don't rely on someone that has more control over how you're delivering your product.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've seen a lot of people out with that where you got your business so tied upon. I was talking with another one the other day. It was everything was tied into Amazon storefronts, and they went and changed their whole model of what products you could offer, what couldn't you, and just major impact to their business there. So yeah, it's always be careful anytime you're depending solely upon a third party platform or something like that to deliver or carry your product, because that's a big risk at that point. Sometimes, granted, starting out, you don't have the expertise or the resources to go build a whole app or something like that, but still that needs to be in a plan, at least getting off of that pretty quick.
Mhm.
So I know we've talked about a whole bunch of things, but I always like to wrap up just saying, okay, going back 5 years or however many years, if I had just known X or if I had just tried X sooner, the journey might be at least a little bit smoother, kind of a thing. What's one thing you might have pulled out with that?
I would have gotten a business coach sooner. That's the bottom line. I think about, okay, well, I mean, I was walking the talk. I was posting online. I was doing all the things that we need to do. I had a good product. None of that was my thing. It was, I wouldn't have waited to get a business coach. I didn't know what I didn't know. And a business coach knows. They know how to grow. They know how to scale. They know how to get you prepared for what's coming. They know how to say, there are an extra set of ears, extra set of eyes. And if I would have had one sooner, I would have hit millions even sooner.
Yeah, no, I hate to be self-serving with that one, but yeah, it really is of just, if nothing else, having that outside accountability, like you're saying, even with the weight loss, is saying, okay, yeah, we can do ourselves, but a lot of times, well, if I cut this corner, if I don't do that, or I'll put that off till later, like you said, with the videos getting produced for the ad agency, things like that. Having somebody on the outside to sit there and hold you accountable, say, hey, have you done this yet? Have you done this? Why are you doing this? Is a huge difference maker right there.
Yeah.
So,
I encourage you guys to get a business coach if you don't have one.
yeah. And there's the downside almost to that is there's so many different areas that can be difficult finding the right fit, but still, yeah, that's definitely key of having that outside accountability partner there for sure. So unfortunately running out of time here. So I want to say thanks again for joining us, for coming on. If visitors want to learn more about your program, more about you, where can they, I'm assuming it's probably got something to do with Code Red, but where can they find you here?
Yeah, you can go Cristy Code Red on all the socials, but the best place to get started is 10poundtakedown.com, the number 10 POUND takedown.com. That's the best way to kind of dip your toe into the lifestyle and see if you like me and see if you like what I teach.
Sounds great. And yeah, we'll have all the links and everything here in the show notes. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Building to Scale podcast. If you would like to share your entrepreneurial business growth story, please visit buildingtoscale.com/guest. If you got something out of this interview, would you do both us and our guest a favor and share it on your social media accounts? Don't forget to hit subscribe in your player so that you don't miss any future episodes, and make sure to reach out to Jeff Chastain on any of the major social media networks, or check us out at admentis.com.